Okay, so we're talking about 401ks, and you remember from last week my friend who makes well into six figures, who made a pretty big mistake with her 401k when we discovered that after almost 30 years, all of her money was in a money market fund. So now I'm going to share with you her second big mistake that came right after that discovery. And if you are following along to learn about your 401k and how you want to invest and what you want to invest, I want you to listen up to this video, because how you invest is just as important as what you invest in. So get ready, here we go. I'm Carrie, and today we're talking about why throwing all your money into the market at once might not be the smartest thing, even when you're behind. So, so I meet up with my girlfriend. We get together for coffee regularly on Fridays after work. And so when we were discussing the 401ks last time, I had told her about, for an example, a fund that I was in that I really liked. And I explained to her the reasons why I liked that fund. So when we got together for coffee, she said to me, "Oh, guess what? I did it." I said, "You did what?" She said, "I moved all my money into that fund." And she named the fund that I had told her that I really liked. And I said, "All of it?" And she said, "All of it." And I almost did like a spit take with my coffee. Like, I was not giving her financial advice to put all of her money on one day into that one fund. So I have to tell you, my heart really sank, and I had a pit in my stomach. I felt like really responsible for what if the market takes a turn. And this is a very aggressive fund that's highly invested in tech stocks. And so I have to tell you, it did. The market did turn, and it did start going down for a while. And I felt really bad about it. So, so I just want to explain to you guys why it's really important, if you discover that your 401k is invested, if you're mostly in a money market fund and you want to get into some of these index funds, why dollar cost averaging is really, really important. Let's say you had $100,000 that you had never invested in any index funds, and you took it all and put it into one stock on the same day, and then the market went down by 30%. So now you see your investment cut by 30%. So if you're investing over 20 years into index funds, you're essentially dollar cost averaging, because every week or every 2 weeks when you get paid, your money's going into those index funds, and over 20 years you've dollar cost averaged into those index funds. When you take one lump sum and put it into one fund in one day, if that fund takes a big hit, you just took a huge loss, and now you have to come back from there. So the best thing to do, if you have $100,000 sitting in cash in your 401k, just pick a strategy, pick your fund. So you're going to pick your 3 to 4 diversified funds. You're going to pick an amount that you're going to put in, say every month or every week. $2,500 a week, I'm going to divide it across these 4 funds. Or $10,000 a month, I'm going to divide it across these 4 funds for the next 10 months. And then you will have dollar cost average into those funds over the year. And you'll still be making gains, and you'll still be contributing to your 401k. So those funds will be dollar cost average. And there's one more tip I want to add in here, that it's not all bad to have a little bit of that money in cash or dry powder. So you don't have to invest the whole thing. Let's say there's $100,000 and you decide you're gonna invest $75,000 and you're gonna hold $25,000 in cash. The market's very volatile right now. So if there's a couple months where the market's way down, maybe then you want to go in and invest with your cash that you have, and maybe you can make up a little bit of time. Now, you can't time the market. We know that. There's no such thing as market timing. But I don't see anything wrong with, when the market has been going down and down and down, putting some money into that. And here's just another side point about having cash in your 401k. You cannot tap cash that's in your 401k as an emergency fund, or if you need it for some reason. You can't tap that cash. So that cash is just there as an opportunity fund. If you want to keep a small amount of cash in the case that the market really dips and you want to invest on that dip, then you go ahead and do that. But just understanding that that is not your emergency fund. You need to have a separate emergency fund in cash in case something happens. So I just want to wrap up this video by saying, because this is an actual real story that happened, that dollar cost averaging isn't always the best bet, because if the market never dipped and just continued to go up, then putting all the money in one lump sum on that one day would have been the best bet. But that's gambling. So like my friend, she put all that money into that fund on that one day, and it did dip for a while, and she saw her money go down. Now, luckily, it did come back up, and she did get to the point where she started making money, but she first had to get back what she lost, and then it had to keep going up. So I just want to say that you don't want to time the market. Dollar cost averaging is always the best strategy, because over time, the market has always gone up. It always goes up over time, and there can be big dips at the time, and it looks like a really big dip, but when you look at the chart expanded out, those dips are so tiny you can't even see them, but the market is gradually going up and up and up. So for me, dollar cost averaging is the best strategy. And finally, what I want to share with you guys about my friend is that she does now have 4 funds in her 401k that she's investing across all those 4 funds. So she did get it eventually after a couple mistakes, which really is how we learn, right? This is how we learn. So I just want to say that if you find that you have your money in cash or in a stable fund or some kind of fund that there's no growth, you want to pick out 3 to 4 funds where you can invest your money in your 401k. And next week, we're going to talk a little bit about how to diversify in our 401k and what makes a diversified portfolio. And if you think you know someone who this video would help, I hope you will share it with them. And I would love it if you would be so inclined, if you did feel that you needed to check what your 401k was invested in and what you found. Please don't tell us the actual funds. Once again, I'm going to say, my name's Carrie. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not personalized financial advice. So this is just a place where we come to learn the basics and grow, and where we can admit that we have things to learn and that we make mistakes, and we can all share together. So if you have anything to share with maybe someone else who might have watched this video, please leave it in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about the importance of diversifying in our 401k.